edition of Trends with LJE, where we bring you the latest and developing stories across Nigeria and Africa. I am John Nkamian. Now, do well to be part of our growing online community by hitting that follow, like, and share button right now on all platforms at LJE Nigeria. Joining me to dissect today's stories on Trends with LJE, I have my friend and brother, Shedrack Oka. It's great to have you in the house.
Thank you.
And of course, he's flanked by the two lovely ladies who ensure that we have our fair share of female brilliance on the show. Esther, I beg your pardon, Miriam and Gracie. Ladies, it's nice to have you.
Thank you.
Right, without much ado, let's quickly run through our headlines for this edition of Trends. Tinubu celebrates Nigeria's victory over Gabon, says match to FIFA World Cup continues. Nnamdi Kanu praised appeal court to stop terrorism charge ruling. Falana tells Tinubu to compel Wike to apologise to Naval officer. Wike defies backlash, says he won't be intimidated from doing the right thing. Ex-Abia councillor flogged, detained by youths over alleged insult to serving member. And without much ado, we go to our lead story. Of course, sports, a little bit unusual on the show, but President Bola Tinubu has congratulated the Super Eagles on their emphatic 4-1 victory over Gabon on Thursday, FIFA World Cup qualifying Africa playoff match, describing the performance of the Eagles as a clear expression of the Nigerian character that rises, adapts, and prevails. President Tinubu noted that the team played with courage, balance, and precision, and reminded the country that football has always been one of Nigeria's most potent symbols of unity and shared pride. He commended the players, the coaching staff, and the entire technical and administrative crew for their unwavering commitment to the national cause, adding that the dedication has brought the nation team victory. Adding that the victory reflects the deep pool of talent that Nigeria continues to produce and the determination of the Super Eagles to reclaim their place amongst the continent's most respected teams. All right, let me start with the ladies. I know that football is not really your thing, but I've been made to understand that when Nigeria plays, and particularly the Super Eagles, the ladies are very fascinated because of all the fine boys who play football. So Miriam, this set of fine boys played and beat Gabon 4-1, and Nigeria is inching closer to finally qualifying for the 2026 World Cup. Did you watch the game?
I didn't. I didn't.
But how do you react to the scoreline and the fact that Nigeria is getting closer to qualifying for the 2026 World Cup?
Okay, the thing is, I'll say congratulations to the fine boys. As you said, they've done well, at least one down and a few more to go. And I'll just say, in my own opinion, I hope the federal government goes ahead to pay them their allowances that they are being owed, because they are actually doing well to put Nigeria in the map. So I think the allowances should be paid. And our president shouldn't go to make, out of excitement, go to start making more promises that he won't be able to keep. So nice one, Super Eagles.
Well, Gracie, what about you? Did you watch the game?
No. Okay, I would say congratulations to our Super Eagles. They have done well. At least they are helping us to keep our World Cup dreams alive. So in as much as football is good, our national progress is also better. So if Tinubu is still celebrating them, telling them congratulations, because truly they have done well, at least we should try and say, okay, victory over insecurity, victory over high cost of living, victory over all the things we are not straightforward in Nigeria. At least our president should look into that matter, so that everything will be going well. So that
Interesting reactions, Shedrack. I mean, it makes sense.
Very, very.
If the Super Eagles are treading a a very productive course, it should reflect in governance and leadership.
Yes, like Gracia said, that is the right thing to do. Of course, they have demonstrated a high class of patriotic spirit, despite the fact that they are being owed welfare packages and all that. They still went out to bring joy to the country. That would not be said of Tinubu and his colleagues, where they know they often ask the masses to tighten their belt, where they go all living exorbitantly. So it's not the same thing. But I want to particularly appreciate the boys for the job well done, and the star boy Victor Osimhen, who has just about 4 goals to meet the record of all-time goal scorer Yekini. And this phrase, he always said that life respects your skill and hard work and not your makeup. Knowing from his humble background how he got to the Super Eagles. It's an encouragement to all the young people up there. Life, pay attention and respect and reward your hard work and not your makeup. So whatever level you find yourself, brave up, face the target, and victory is ours. Well done.
Interesting. Now, moving ahead, the detained Biafra Nation agitator Nnamdi Kanu has asked the Court of Appeal in Abuja to stop the Federal High Court from delivering judgment in the terrorism charges brought against him by the federal government. Now, judgment in the terrorism charges filed since 2015 have been scheduled for delivery on November 20 by Justice James Kolawole Omotosho of the Federal High Court, Abuja. However, Kanu, in a fresh motion on notice he has just filed, is praying the Court of Appeal to stop the High Court from further proceeding in the charges against him. His new motion was predicted on the grounds that he had filed a notice of appeal against the September 26 ruling of Justice Omotosho, which dismissed his no-case submission and ordered him to defend the terrorism allegations against him. The leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, is contending that the Federal High Court was wrong in dismissing his no-case submission without going through the jurisdictional and validity of the charges he has raised. Amongst other things, he argued that the lower court was wrong in upholding the charges because the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act had been repealed, and therefore there was no valid charges against him. He also held that the constitutional issue of jurisdiction was not addressed by the judge in considering ruling on the no-case submission. The grounds of the motion was that Justice Omotosho did not evaluate the evidence of the prosecution witness and the cross-examination to determine whether he adduced evidence had been discredited. Kanu stated that if his request to halt the judgment delivery was not granted by the Court of Appeal, he might be unlawfully convicted and sentenced to jail. Now, besides, he feared that if the November 20 judgment is delivered, his appeal against the no-case submission would become a mere academic exercise, and a fatal accompli would therefore be forced on the appeal court. Now, let me come to you, Shedrack, before we take a commercial break. Now, Kanu has gone to the appeal court. Everybody were beginning to look forward to the November 20 judgment. But surprisingly, first of all, going to the appeal courts, will that yield anything for Kanu? And secondly, Justice Kolawole Omotosho has been fingered to be a very notorious judge when it comes to controversial rulings. So what are we to expect between now and the 20th? Will the appeal court in some way save Nnamdi Kanu?
I think talking about Justice James Omotosho, I've had a fair share. I've appeared before him. I've been to his court. And of course, the sentiment that people express are there. And oftentimes, judges and lawyers hide behind the fact that they are human and they are not infallible. But it is not enough reason to give certain kind of judgment when you have the laws before you. They seem to close their eyes and do certain bidding. That's why people feel they are most time being political in their judgment. So for Kanu, it is within his right to appeal. And that was the reason why he elected to defend himself. People were afraid. They said, no, why will you disband your law team? But I know it was a strategic move. You can see the litany of cases he's presented, showed that he's in touch with his lawyers. They are giving him good brief. But on this current issue, it is very sad for me, the whole narrative, the way it is going. I watched him when he went to submit his dissent in the Supreme Court appeal. You can see the people cheering. relating with him. And those are not Igbos, those are not IPOB, those are Nigerians from Yoruba, from Hausas, cheering him up. It gets to show the federal government should sit up with this case and stop playing politics. They should look at the matters of the law. It cannot be because of one man. Nnamdi Kanu is not more important than every other Nigerians out there. So they should treat this case with caution. Look at the laws. What does your law say? And just effect it.
And then has he committed the crimes that
has
you
he
claim
committed the crime? In fact, I just had to go through the Terrorism Prevention Act, that one Prevention Act, as amended 2011, 2010, lately 2022. And from here, it says that they, of course, expanded the jurisdiction of those acts to show even those who support terrorism, those who harbor terrorism, those who prevent arrests of terrorists and all that. And we see them all over the place. So what is federal government doing about this? You cannot tell me just because this guy, I keep saying it, it is because it is Nnamdi Kanu. If he was a Musa or a Kunle, it would have been different. And that is the issue for me. You cannot have people who shot at a sitting governor, convoy, who granted press conference to destabilize the country, moving freely. And then you have one man. What did he do that is different from what Gumi have done? What did he do that is different from the past governor of Zamfara State, who was fingered to buy vehicles we received, shown by the current governor? And those things are in the desk of Mr. President. The current Minister for State of Defense is a terrorist, has supported terror. I didn't say so. There's a white paper before Mr. President by the sitting governor, who said he produced receipts where this young man bought vehicles for bandits. How about them? They are sitting senators who have harbored terrorists in their house. And where are they? Because they are not Nnamdi Kanu, their names are not...
Even the bandits have confessed that the government...
The bandits have confessed. So what are we talking about? So I want to say an appeal to Mr. President and all our learned judges. They should stop taking Nigerians for granted. There are over 180 million Nnamdi Kanu on the street, and we are not happy. What is the common cause with Nnamdi Kanu? We are talking of justice. We are talking of fairness and equity and good governance. If there is good governance and fairness and equity, nobody will be talking about Biafra. It is because we have made one life more important than the other. Please, they should do the needful. We are waiting. Whether Justice Omoto should deliver judgment or whether it goes political or not, it doesn't concern us. But I can tell them this will raise over 120 million Nnamdi Kanu on the street of Nigeria. We are all interested in November 20.
Well, we need to take a quick break. When we return, we will bring you the story of how senior advocate Femi Falana has asked President Tinubu to compel FCT Minister Nyesom Wike to apologize to the Naval officer he had an altercation with. How Wike has defied the backlash, insisting that he won't be intimidated from doing the right thing, and how ex-Abia councillor was flogged and detained by youths over alleged insults to a serving member. Stay with us, and remember, keep sharing the stream.
Welcome to LJE Studio, where creativity meets production excellence. Whether you're shooting a podcast, hosting a live stream, recording interviews, or bringing your next big idea to life, we've built the perfect space for you. Everything you need to create premium content is right here. Come record, come create, come be inspired. Visit www.ljenigeria.org/LJE-studio or call 0705-245-3714 to book your session today.
Thanks for staying with us. It's still Trends with LJE. And we move on to the next story, where human rights lawyer Femi Falana, SAN, has tasked President Bola Tinubu to compel the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, to apologize for using uncomplimentary comments against a serving naval officer, A.M. Yerima, over a disputed piece of land in Abuja, while saying the minister was lucky not to have been shot during his confrontation with the soldier. The senior lawyer, however, stressed that both parties erred in the eye of the law. Now, Falana made the remarks on Thursday in Abuja at the opening of the legal year of the Faculty of Law, University of Abuja, speaking on the face-off between the FCT minister and his altercation with a military officer on a property belonging to an ex-chief of naval staff. The The land silk faulted both parties for taking the law into their hands. He stated that although Wike was carrying out his statutory responsibility as enshrined in Section 11 of the Land Use Act, his failure to exercise emotional intelligence and his use of derogatory language towards the military officer gave him away. He cited a case in Ghana where a minister had to apologize for making uncomplimentary remarks about a taxi driver, emphasizing the importance of dignity and respect. Now, in the same vein, despite growing criticism following his confrontation with the military officer over disputed land in Abuja, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Nyesom Wike, has declared that he will now not bow to intimidation or political blackmail in carrying out his duties. Speaking at a press briefing in Abuja on Thursday, November 13, 2025, Wike reiterated his deep respect for the Nigerian military as an institution, but maintained that no individual, no matter how highly placed, will be allowed to act above the law in the FCT. The minister's remarks followed a viral altercation between the FCTA enforcement officials and armed officers allegedly linked to a retired chief of Naval staff over illegal land development at plot 1946, Gadwa district. Now, Wike clarified that the issue was not a standoff between the military and the government, but a matter involving private individuals who acquired the land illegally, explaining that the disputed plot was originally designated for parks and recreation, but was unlawfully partitioned and sold after the FCT administration denied an application for a change of use in 2022. He condemned the assault on senior FCT officials who had gone to enforce a stop-work order at the site, describing it as a shameful act of impunity. Let's watch the video.
You are against the law. It is not military versus government. No. If it was military, I would have written to them that, look, military, why are you doing this? This is a private individual. Land was not allocated to him. Land was allocated to a company called Santos. Listen, in 2007 for parks and recreation. They applied to the former minister for change of use. The minister refused. The man went. When I came on board, before them, President Jonathan had awarded a contract.
Well, Wike said the continuous misuse of institutional influence and tribal or class sentiment to justify illegal acts remains one of the biggest threats to national progress. He emphasized that his on-site intervention was necessary to protect his officials who had repeatedly faced violence during enforcement operations. Now, according to the Director of Development Control, Town Planning, Mukhtar Galadima, armed men at the site had threatened to shoot the enforcement team during previous visits. Galadima and the Director of Land, Chijoke Nwokoeze, confirmed that the developer had no valid title document or building approval, only a defunct letter of intent used 18 years ago for park maintenance, not construction. The minister also dismissed political insinuations surrounding the incident, warning critics and media commentators against spreading falsehood. Wike, who has since briefed the current service chiefs on the matter, said he remains unshaken in his resolve to sanitize Abuja's land administration system and restore order to the territory. At this point, let me quickly ask you, Shedrack, how do you react to this? I mean, considering the fact that Wike's case seems to be what our elders would say, when you point one finger, remember 4 fingers are pointing at you. Allegations, it's been alleged that he grabs lands to give to his political cronies, even his children. Of recent, it made the rounds when he traveled abroad on official assignment and took his sons with him, and clearly told anybody who had anything to say about it that his sons have a right to learn under him.
Right. In the words of Peter Gregory Obi, His Excellency, said this executive rascality is what we want to bring to an end in our country. We've seen, it's very unfortunate that this is coming up. And for the learned, lawyer, human rights lawyer, who said compel the president to compel, asking the president to compel Nyesom Wike to tender apology. I mean, we are not children. You mustn't compel an adult to do what is right. But unfortunately in this country, when somebody do what is normal, we look at it as something strange. What the young naval officer did is nothing out of the blues. It's not supposed to be surprising. That is civility. That is what is normal. Every human being should behave the way he did in that manner. But you now look as if he did something extraordinary. He didn't do anything extraordinary. But it's Nyesom Wike who acted within his constitutional right, actually. But this arrogance, once you are in power, it corrupts you absolutely. When they look at every other person as
stop human.
I'm telling you. Imagine Wike telling the young man when I was, what has age got to do with that? Respect your jurisdiction. Respect your authority where you are. Say, when I was your age, we don't give a damn to whatever you are. People, you didn't fall from the moon. We know you. We know your history. We know you're in secondary school, university, that you're privileged to be in politics over 20 years. You are alpha and omega. Respect yourself. You don't call somebody a fool. A young man, you are a fool, I'll deal with you. You go and, I mean, those kind of rascality around people in government should not be tolerated. But unfortunately, these are people that went through screening. If I want propose, they should be giving some psychiatric tests. Most of the character and behavior of our leaders showed as if they have element of I'm telling you, as if it's very unfortunate that this is happening. If he likes, let him apologize, like the people say the streets.
But are you worried because of his warnings to public commentators like yourself and the media for consistently harping on his...
Why should I be worried? Wike is a tenant who will pass away just in the next 2 years. His tenure is over. He will tenant, go back to the street and meet every one of us. You cannot guard the media. You can't control what we say, what we react. Live is 10% what happened to you and 90% how you react to it. So once you want people not to happen what you do, conduct yourself very well. Comport yourself. How many court orders has Wike himself defied? How many court orders? He having no good authorities that even the land that he's collecting from people, how is it administering them? Is it according to the laws or Land Use Act? No. They are guilty of all these things. So we don't give a damn. Whatever he wants to do, let him go ahead and do it. But I will remind him, he's a tenant. After the next 2 years, he will back to the street, meet us in the trenches. So nobody look at his face. That you are a minister does not mean we will not report what we see. You can go ahead and do anything you want to. The law is there. You can't change it. And at most, another 4 years, you meet us back to the street. Wike is not God, and he can never be. That is the truth.
All right. A former councillor in Ohafia local government area of Abia State, Uduma Uguru, popularly known as Makiba, has alleged that he was lured, beaten, and detained by youths of Amekbu, Ohafia, over claims that he disrespected a serving councillor in the area. Makiba, who spoke during an exclusive episode of Talk Make I Talk podcast, recounted how the ugly incident began after a disagreement at a road construction site involving the Greater Ohafia Development Authority. According to him, the misunderstanding started when he referred to the deputy leader of the Ohafia Legislative Council, Honorable Daniel Ekeoru, as that guy during a heated exchange. Now, a trending video of the incident has since gone viral across social media platforms showing Makiba being flogged in public by a group of youths in Amekbu. The footage also captured moments when the attacker stepped on his laps and knees while others shouted orders demanding that he pay a fine before being freed. Reports indicate that the former councillor was accused of failing to pay for a tipper truck allegedly hired for a direct labor road project in the area, a claim he strongly denies. Let's watch the video.
Our councillor, representing Isiama World. They are crying. Our councillor,
Let me start with you. How do you react to this kind of brutal treatment by youth? And because I think at this point, what goes through my head is these are the supposed leaders of tomorrow. Yeah, so acting in this manner, what kind of leadership are we expecting if tomorrow they become councillors and public officers?
Like you said, these are proposed leaders of tomorrow. And today we're all clamoring for youths to be elected into political positions to make sure that they are inside what is happening, to know what is happening, and not feeling left out. And now this is what is happening. Yes, this Mr. Makiba must have done something wrong. We don't know. But what's happened to giving him to the right authorities instead of taking
the laws into their hands? Yeah.
What if you were beating him or treating him and he dies? What are you going to say? I don't really applaud the situation. We have authorities who are supposed to meddle or judge things like this. Why not let them interfere instead of you doing? I don't know why we like jungle justice. Youth like doing things by themselves in Nigeria. It is so uncalled for.
Gracie, I mean, this is a sad development. They probably never expected that this matter will come up, at this level. And this probably represents, God knows how many people suffer this kind of treatment in different parts of the country. How do you react to this development?
I would say maybe the youth are being tired of being disrespected by our politicians. Yes, maybe they are fed up because if you see most of our politicians, once they become leaders, they'll start treating youth anyhow. So maybe the method they are using maybe is questionable, but the message is clear. What they need is their own respect. So any leader,
but two wrongs don't make a right.
But any leader that don't want to listen, at least they should collect woto small. You understand? Before they will now pass them to the
appropriate authorities.
Thank you. So that is it.
Shadrach, I mean, it has its humorous side, but we can't run away from the fact that the act itself is wrong.
I think if I understand the story very well, the youths are acting on behalf of the deputy leader in the house. Because in this case, the young man who a former councillor insulted someone.
When you use the phrase "this guy," is that supposed to be considered
an insult? It's not. That is the point. Where even if he had insulted the sitting member, even if he even insult him and abuse him, it is not within the rights of the youth to take that. The young man can go to court or whatever. But I can tell you what is going to happen next is that once there is a public backlash. Because the social media people use their phone to video and send. The young man there in the House of Assembly is going to start making laws to ban a cell phone where you have not
like we've seen Wike do with ages.
And meanwhile, it's not strange. Wike use a cutlass in one of, I think the first tenure in office to give press statement. Cutlass, where national and international television were ban Amechi. If you catch him anywhere, beat him. These people behave like touts. And then when you disgrace yourself like that and people video you and show, you start looking for laws to ban people from, doing what we have. It is in this country that a House of a rep member abuse
an Uber
driver. In fact, that day he even said, do you know who you are talking to? I am a senator of the Federal Republic. He even forgot that it was a House of Reps. So you see, this thing intoxicates people, but it is not right. The youth should learn not to take laws into their hand. But we've seen this happen several times. In the last Edo election, we see people beating, adults, people, prominent people like that, but it is not right. But like I said again, the police will always turn a blind eye. They won't look at this thing. The former NANS president that was disgraced, beating to pulp and shared his nude pictures all over the place. Up to today, there's no arrest anywhere. This kind of thing does not encourage a sane society. It makes people to feel, of course, we can act and nobody is doing anything. But I thank God for the IGP yesterday who condemned the policeman that escorted Wike, because there's a special training for those who protect VIPs, and condemn their act. He should not always do that if it has to do with high-profile cases. They should look at the street. A lot is going on.
Well, I think it was Fela and that said Nigeria is an animal farm. Some animals are more equal than others. And then my good brother and friend and learned colleague, Dele Farotimi, said Nigeria is a jungle. Anyway, the video has drawn massive condemnation from across Abia State and beyond, with residents describing the assault as barbaric, uncivilized, and a clear use of jungle justice. Many have called for the immediate arrest and prosecution of those involved. Makeba disclosed that he had earlier responded to a petition at the Ohafia Area Command before the incident and has since reported the assault to the police for investigation. He appealed to the Abia State Governor, Dr. Alex Chioma Oti, and the Commissioner of Police to ensure justice is served. He added that despite being from the same ward as the Deputy Governor of Abia State, he has yet to receive any call or sympathy from him since the incident. The former lawmaker said he is still undergoing medical treatment following the brutal attack and would consult his community and family before deciding on any further action. As of the time of the reports reaching the public domain, the Amekbu Youth Leadership, Honorable Daniel A.K. Urum, and other parties mentioned have not issued any official statement. So, that's all the time we have for this edition of Trends with LJE. My sincere thanks to Gracie and Miriam, and of course, Sherry Akoka for making our time to be on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. As always, don't forget to follow, like, and share at LJE Nigeria on all social media platforms to join the conversation and, of course, get updates on our next show. I am John Kanyang. Bye for now.